A knit beanie held her breath as she lay flat on the cool hardwood floor beneath the massive oak bed, fighting the urge to laugh. Her white wedding gown, still on because she had never changed after the ceremony, pooled around her like a silvery cloud, the veil snagged in the metal frame above her. If Caleb sees me crawling out from under this bed like a tiny puffball angel, he's going to drop dead, she thought, picturing him stumbling in, panicking, searching everywhere until she burst out yelling surprise. They'd collapse into laughter the way they used to. Back then, Caleb was different, reckless in the sweetest way, showing up under her window with a guitar at midnight, playing blues until neighbors threatened to call the cops. She'd sneak out in bunny slippers, and they'd sprint off like teenagers, even though they were both pushing 30. The door creaked open, but the footsteps weren't Caleb's. Instead came the sharp, unmistakable click of heels. Marjorie swept into the room with her queen of the castle posture, settling primly on the edge of the bed directly above Lena. The springs dipped, forcing Lena to flatten herself even more. "Yes, Janine, I'm home now," Marjorie said into her phone. The girl turned out to be very pliable. Too pliable. "Caleb says she's practically an orphan. Her daddy's some low-level plant engineer barely scraping by. And her place?" She snorted softly. "A hovel in some forgotten corner of Detroit. Pitiful. But good for us. My Caleb has leverage." Lena's blood iced over. Orphan. Poor. Her father might be an engineer, but he wasn't nickel and dime. Mark was the head of design at a major defense firm, a quiet man who preferred privacy. And that hovel Marjorie had seen. It was her late Aunt Helen's old apartment, kept for memory's sake. Their real home was a bright condo in an upscale neighborhood, but Lena never flaunted that. "The plan is simple," Marjorie continued, and Lena heard a lighter flick. "Caleb had sworn his mother quit smoking a decade ago. They'll live together 6 months, maybe a year. Then Caleb says they're incompatible. I'll play my role, I'll complain she doesn't respect me, can't cook, keeps a messy home, standard stuff. They'll get a peaceful separation. And the condo, which is now in her name. We'll claim it. Caleb's receipts are all saved. She won't fight. Country girls never do." Lena felt her lungs seize. "Hello, Caleb," Marjorie cooed as her phone rang again. "No, your new wife isn't here. Probably out celebrating. Don't worry, she can't get away now. She's got the ring, the certificate. Done deal. Bird in a cage. Just remember, no weakness. She needs to know who runs this house." The moment the door clicked shut as Marjorie left, Lena stayed frozen, numb. When she finally slid out from under the bed, her dress was dusty, veil ripped. None of it mattered. What mattered was deciding whether to run or fight. The panic in her chest solidified into something colder. Sharper. No. They picked the wrong girl. Her phone, still tucked in her tiny purse, had been recording. She'd started it earlier to capture Caleb's reaction to her prank. Now it was her ammunition. But she'd need more. She changed into jeans, tied her hair back, grabbed her laptop, and dialed her father. "Princess." Mark answered immediately. "Why are you calling?" "It's your wedding night." "Dad. I need to talk. Remember when you offered to put your share of the company in my name?" Silence. Then, "Lena, what happened? Did that idiot hurt you?" "Nothing yet. But I need a guarantee. Can you meet me at the notary first thing?" "Of course. And we'll transfer Helen's condo to you as well. Papers are ready." "Thank you, Dad. I knew Caleb was an opportunist. And that mother of his. You should have listened." "I wasn't in love, Dad." "Not really." Next, she called Tara, her best friend and lawyer. If I bought a condo before the wedding, Lena asked, and it's only in my name, does my husband have any claim? Lena, are you already talking divorce? The wedding was today. Just answer. It's separate property. He'd need proof he invested in renovations to claim anything. What is going on? Come by tomorrow at 10. Please. The front door slammed. Caleb was home. Lena. Baby. I drove all over looking for you, he called out, fake worry dripping from every syllable. She came down the stairs calmly. Hi. Just changed and cleaned up a bit. He hugged her. She felt sick. You're freezing, he murmured. Just tired. Let's sleep. Morning came quickly. Caleb kissed her awake. Good morning, Mrs. Roberts. She bit back the urge to say, it's Bennett on my passport. Good morning. Want coffee? And an omelette? Mom says you're a great cook. Lena almost choked. Yesterday that same woman had called her incapable. While Caleb showered, Lena tucked her phone recorder behind the spice jars, heated frozen pancakes, and refused, out of principle, to make the omelette. Caleb sat and took a bite. Weird texture. Low-fat recipe, she said sweetly. Oh, hey, I was thinking. Maybe you should add me to the condo paperwork. So I can handle repairs and stuff. She took her time sipping coffee. And why would you need that? You think I can't handle it? No, it's just, well, I'm the man. Head of the household. Sure, she said softly. We'll talk later. I'm seeing a friend today. Which friend? Tara. His jaw tightened. Don't be late. Mom's coming for dinner. Make something nice. Lena smiled, sugary sweet. Of course. What does she like? She eats everything. Just put effort into it. Oh, Lena thought, I'll put effort into something. If you love real emotional stories, hit subscribe, we post one every day. The first impression is everything. If Caleb had the slightest idea of the impression his mother had already made on his new bride, he would have swallowed that rubbery pancake whole. But Lena only smiled and nodded. Sure, honey. Whatever you say. The moment Caleb left, claiming he was meeting friends, though Lena was certain he was rushing to his mother to update her on their progress, she grabbed her phone. The morning recording was pristine. Every word he'd said about being head of the household and having a right to the condo was crystal clear. At exactly 10 o'clock, Tara arrived, freckles bright, hair tied back, a thick folder tucked under her arm. Okay, she said, shutting the door behind her. Tell me which fire we're putting out this time. Lena hit play. Tara stood silent, then dropped into a chair. Oh my God. Lena. This is blatant fraud. Fraud with seasoning. We can bury them. I don't want to just bury them. Lena folded her arms. I want them branded with the lesson. Tara grinned slowly. Well. Sleeping lioness finally woke up. She spread her documents across the table. Let's see. We've got Marjorie on tape, Caleb on tape, the condo in your name, and, wait, he contributed the money? Yes, Lena said. But it wasn't his. Remember the trust fund my dad set up when I turned 18? I used that money for us. Caleb withdrew it in cash and handed it to the seller in front of his mother, like it was his contribution. I didn't think anything of it. I figured he was showing off. And the original transfer? From your account to his. All through the bank. Tara slapped the table. Perfect. Beautiful. Our smoking cannon. She laid out the plan. Step 1, move every cent you own into accounts Caleb has never heard of. Step 2, finalize your stake in your father's company. Step 3, gather more evidence. And absolutely no sudden moves. You're sweet and clueless until the curtain drops. The doorbell rang. Lena opened it to find her father, Mark, standing next to Dr. Miller, the notary. Her dad looked calm, collected, and already 10 steps ahead. "Good morning, Tara." "Good morning, sweetheart," he said. "Let's take care of this." Dr. Miller opened his briefcase. "We'll formalize the donation of 49% of Mark's shares in Vargas Engineering to Lena, and also transfer the property at Republic Avenue. And this," her father added, sliding out another folder, "is a power of attorney for the remaining shares. Just in case I'm ever unable to manage the company." While papers were signed and stamped, Mark gently pulled his daughter aside. "Now," he said, voice low, "tell me what's going on." Lena pressed play once more. He listened without blinking, jaw tightening until it looked carved from stone. When it ended, he muttered, "Those parasites." "Dad," she whispered. "Don't get involved. I've got this." "I know you do. You're your mother's daughter. She'd be proud." He squeezed her shoulder. "But I'm here if you need me." By nightfall, everything was in place. The money was moved. The shares were hers. The paperwork was airtight. And Lena's plan was polished to a shine. Dinner was next. Marjorie had once said she ate everything. Perfect. Lena bought chicken giblets, rice, margarine, and, her masterpiece, an expired can of corned beef. "Can't cook, huh?" she murmured. "Let's see." She simmered a broth so peppery it stung the eyes. She overcooked the rice into a paste. She mixed the corned beef with potatoes and mayo into a pinkish mush. And the dessert? A margarine and sugar frosting layered between soggy ladyfingers. A culinary crime scene. Caleb arrived first. Marjorie followed at 7:30 sharp, dressed to impress, smelling like the perfume counter of an upscale store. "Lena, sweetheart," she said, kissing the air near her cheek. "How are the newlyweds settling in? What's for dinner?" "I'm starving." Lena served the broth. Marjorie sipped, sputtered, and dabbed her eyes. What is this?" "Pepper bay leaf broth," Lena chirped. "My grandma used to make it. She grew up in the countryside." "Oh. The countryside. I see." The rice, cream, came next. Marjorie poked it with her spoon like it might move. "It's excellent for digestion," Lena said brightly. "I'll pass. I'm dieting." The corned beef salad was rejected due to an allergy to mayonnaise. And when the cake arrived, a leaning tower of sugar grease, Marjorie stood up abruptly. "You know, I'm not feeling well. Stress from yesterday, surely." "Caleb, walk me out." Lena watched from the window as Marjorie ranted at her son, waving her arms wildly, while he looked like he wished he could evaporate. When he returned, he hissed, "Lena, what was that?" "What was what?" "That dinner. I worked so hard," she whispered, letting a single tear slip. "And your mom hated everything. Maybe I'm just not good enough for her." Caleb melted instantly. "Baby, I'm sorry. She's difficult. I didn't mean to snap." "Then maybe she should bring her own food next time," Lena murmured sweetly. The next week rolled by in a strange pattern. Caleb nitpicked everything. Questioned every dollar she spent. Pushed harder about being added to the condo paperwork. Lena played her part, hurt, meek, apologetic, while her phone captured every word. And one night, jackpot. Caleb and his friend Damon sat in the living room, empty beer bottles piling up. After the third round, the bragging began. "Dude," Caleb said, laughing, "my mom planned everything. I marry Lena, Pretend it's all good, then in a year. Split. Easy. Condo's mine. She won't fight. Her dad's practically broke. Man, that's cold, Damon said. What if she sues you? With what money? My mom and I could crush her in 2 days. Lena, listening from the stairs, smiled. We'll see about that. 1 week later, she was ready. She called Marjorie. Marjorie. It's Lena. I wanted to apologize for that dinner. Could we try again tomorrow? I want us to start fresh. Marjorie hesitated. Please, Lena added softly. You're like a second mother to me. That did the trick. Well, all right. I'll come. But I'm very particular about food. Of course. I'll do my best. Then Lena called Tara. All set, Tara said. And I'm bringing a little gift for your mother-in-law. What kind of gift? You'll see. It's explosive. That evening, Lena told Caleb the news. She's coming again. I convinced her. I told her I want us to be close. Good. Mom loves respect. I thought maybe we could invite some friends too. Make it a group dinner. Caleb brightened. Yeah. I'll invite Damon and his wife, and also Seth and Alana. Mom likes them. The next day, Lena went all out. Professional catering, soft lighting, fresh flowers, elegant, warm, flawless. The guests arrived at 7, smiling, curious. Marjorie walked in last, visibly impressed. Oh, this is lovely, she said. Very classy. Everyone sat. Toasts were raised. Laughter flowed. Marjorie even shared embarrassing stories from Caleb's childhood. When he was 5, she said proudly, he swore he'd only marry a princess. Well, obviously he didn't get a princess, but Lena is fine. That fine sat in the room like a fly in soup. Lena stood, glass in hand. Friends, a toast. To honesty, trust, and love. Glasses clinked. And now, Lena said, smiling sweetly, I'd like to play something. A recording I made, by accident, on our wedding night. She tapped her phone. Marjorie's voice filled the room. The plan is simple. We get a quiet separation, and we keep the condo. Marjorie went chalk white. Caleb shot to his feet. Lena. Where did you get that? Oh, darling, Lena said softly. I was under the bed. Just waiting to surprise you. Turns out I was the one who got surprised. Marjorie shrieked, it's fake. Is this fake too? Lena tapped again. Caleb's drunken confession played out loud. Damon's wife glared at him like she was deciding which frying pan to hit him with. Then the doorbell rang. Tara stepped inside in a tailored suit, holding a folder. Good evening. I'm attorney Tara Brooks. She handed Marjorie an envelope. This is for you. Marjorie opened it, hands trembling. What is this? A criminal complaint, Tara said calmly. Seems your late husband's death was questionable. No autopsy. Sudden heart failure. A witness saw you inject something into his fore. It was a bluff. A full, glorious bluff. But Marjorie didn't know that. She crumpled in her seat, gasping. That's not true. I didn't do anything. I didn't kill my husband, and I didn't plan to steal from Lena. Caleb was frozen. Mom, he whispered. Is any of that true? About Dad? Marjorie shook her head wildly. No, of course not, Caleb, listen to me. And Lena just watched, calm, steady, triumphant. Lena's father had been sick for months before the wedding, and transferring everything into her name was meant to secure her future, not anyone else's. Even the condo Marjorie mocked as a beanbag's nest had always been intended for Lena. She walked up to her husband with calm, icy precision. "Caleb," she said, laying a stack of documents on the table, "here's the proof you wanted. Transfers from my account to yours. The money you used for the condo. Mine. And here, my father's tax returns. Chief engineer at a defense firm. A salary that would make your mother faint." Caleb swallowed hard. "And these," Lena continued, "are the papers to our real condo. Downtown Atlanta. Not that sad little unit in the suburbs your mother inspected like a prison warden." She stacked the pages neatly. "I could call the police right now and report both of you for attempted fraud." She looked him dead in the eye. "But I won't." "Why?" Caleb whispered. "Because I'm not like you. I'm giving you one chance. Marjorie will stand up, walk out that door, and she will never speak about me or to me again. If she ever interferes in my life, or yours, these documents go straight to the authorities. And not just for the condo scam." Marjorie went pale, then pushed herself shakily to her feet. "Caleb." "Go, Mom," he said quietly, defeated. "Just go." Marjorie grabbed her purse and stormed out. The slam echoed through the living room. The remaining guests sat frozen. Alana was the first to rise. "Damon, we're leaving. And when we get home, we're discussing your part in all this." Damon's face crumpled. He followed her out. Seth muttered a clumsy goodbye and ducked out as well. Only Tara, Caleb, and Lena remained. Caleb tried. "Lena, I don't," she said sharply. "Pack your things. You're leaving tonight. We file for divorce tomorrow." "But we could fix this," he pleaded. "We can try." "Fix what?" Lena snapped. "The betrayal. The scheming. The fact that you and your mother tried to strip me clean because you thought I was some clueless small-town girl." She shook her head. "No. You don't fix that." Caleb's shoulders sagged. He went upstairs and returned half an hour later with a suitcase. "Lena," he tried one last time, "I didn't want any of this. It was her idea." "No, Caleb. You're not a child. You made your own choices. Now go." He left. And when the door clicked shut, Lena finally let herself break. Tears spilled silently. Tara wrapped her arms around her. "You're incredible. A warrior." Lena choked out, "I loved him, Tara. I believed in him." "I know. But better the truth now than 5 years later." Lena nodded. "Thank you." The divorce was clean and quick. Caleb didn't contest a single thing. Fear of exposure made him obedient. Marjorie vanished from the city. People whispered she'd moved in with a sister in Savannah. Lena stayed in her condo, healing, rebuilding. Months passed. One afternoon, she and Tara were laughing over coffee at a small cafe when a tall man with warm honey-colored eyes walked in. He ordered a drink, then glanced around. Their eyes met. He smiled politely. She returned it. "Don't even pretend you didn't see that," Tara whispered. Before Lena could respond, the man approached. "Excuse me," he said kindly, "would you mind if I sit here? Everywhere else is full. I need to work." "Please," Tara said, kicking Lena under the table. He set down his laptop. Blueprints filled the screen. "You're an engineer." Lena blurted. The man smiled. "Design engineer. You too." "By training. I work in procurement now." "Then we're practically colleagues." "I'm Galani." "Lena. Nice to meet you." They talked, effortlessly. Galani mentioned he'd just returned from a long assignment at the same research center where Lena's mother once worked. Tara stood up suddenly. I need to run. You two enjoy. She winked not so subtly and left. Lena and Galani stayed until closing, talking about everything from turbine design to old movies. Outside, he asked gently, may I have your number? I'd like to continue this. She smiled and gave it. I'll call tomorrow, he said. I'll be waiting. That night she barely slept, her heart racing. Don't fall too fast, she warned herself. But her heart ignored her. Galani called exactly as promised. One date turned into 3, jazz clubs, park walks, quiet dinners. He was attentive. Honest. Steady. No games. On their third outing, Lena finally told him about her short, disastrous marriage. He listened carefully. Lena, your ex was a fool, he said simply. Greedy, blind, foolish. Any mother would pray for a daughter-in-law like you. She blushed. You're exaggerating. Not at all. And honestly, I'm glad he messed up. Otherwise I never would have met you. A month later, Galani introduced her to his mother, Nala, a dignified literature professor who welcomed Lena with warmth. Jelani speaks of you with such admiration, she said, hugging her. I'm so happy he found someone worthy. Their evenings were filled with laughter and old stories of Galani's childhood. One sunset stroll, they unexpectedly crossed paths with Caleb. He was thinner, sad-eyed, and walking with a woman who seemed confused by his silence. Lena, he said softly. Hello, Caleb. You look well. Thanks. You too. It wasn't true, but she let him keep the dignity. I wanted to apologize for everything. No need, she replied gently. It's behind us. My mother, she's gone. We don't talk. Lena felt an unexpected pang. Losing a mother, no matter how complicated, was grief. I'm sorry, she said. Caleb nodded and walked away. Galani squeezed her hand. Your ex? Yes. Do you need to talk about it? No, she said, smiling up at him. He's the past. You're my present, and my future. That night, her father called. Princess, how are you? Mark asked. Very well, Dad. I can hear it. That Galani, he's a good man. I checked. Dad. I have a right to know. He has no vices, comes from a good family, hardworking, and he looks at you like you're the 8th wonder of the world. Dad, stop. I'm just stating facts. Take care of him. And yourself. 6 months later, over a simple dinner at home, Galani pulled out a ring. Lena, marry me. I want mornings with you, children who look like you, and years beside you. She laughed and cried at once. Yes. Yes. The wedding was intimate and beautiful. Tara cried through the whole ceremony. I'm so happy for you, she sobbed. Mark walked Lena down the aisle. Your mother would be proud. You're strong like she was. Nala hugged Lena tightly. Welcome, daughter. That night, Lena and Galani sat on their balcony, drinking champagne and staring at the stars. You know, Lena said softly, everything I went through, it was worth it. What do you mean? If it hadn't happened, I never would have found you. He smiled. I don't believe in fate. We build our lives. My wise engineer. They laughed. And for the record, Lena added, I'm never hiding under a bed again. A year later. Congratulations, the doctor said. You're 8 weeks pregnant. Lena walked out in a daze, heart pounding. She wanted to call Galani but stopped. This needed to be told in person. She prepared a special dinner and wore the same dress she'd worn when he proposed. He came home exhausted. "Did I forget an anniversary?" "I have news," she whispered. "Wonderful news." She handed him the ultrasound. He stared. "This is real." "It's real." He lifted her off the ground and spun her around. "We're having a baby, Lena." The next months were filled with joy. Galani spoiled her. 3 a.m. strawberry cravings, done. Coffee banned from the house. Nala knitted tiny booties. Mark ordered the safest, most extravagant crib available. Then, in her 7th month, Lena saw Marjorie in a baby store. The woman looked older, worn out. When she noticed Lena's belly, she froze. "You're expecting?" Marjorie whispered. "Hello, Marjorie." "Yes." "By him?" "My husband," Lena said evenly. "My real husband." Marjorie swallowed. "Caleb. Caleb can't have children. Doctors told him after an accident years ago. I prayed for a miracle." "I didn't know that," Lena said quietly. One more secret Caleb had buried. Marjorie lowered her gaze. "I work here now. After the scandal, no one would hire me. Tara's legal action made everything public. Caleb doesn't speak to me anymore. He won't even open the door. I don't know how he's living. I saw him months ago. He looked tired. But he was with someone. That's something." "Thank you," Marjorie murmured. "Lena. I know I have no right, but, forgive me. I was blinded by ambition. I ruined everything. I lost my son." She began to cry. Lena stood still, torn. Forgiveness? Impossible. But hatred? She didn't have the energy. "Marjorie," she said softly, "I can't forgive you. But I don't blame you anymore. We all make choices. Yours brought you here. Mine led me somewhere better. I wish you peace." She turned to go, then paused. "And Marjorie, take care of yourself. You deserve at least that." "Back home," she told Galani. He held her silently, proud of her strength. Lena had long since accepted that some wounds never fully heal. You don't always forgive, but you learn to release the weight, and she had. Sometimes she even pitied Marjorie. She'd lost everything, but she'd done it to herself. Lena's life had moved forward, toward better values, a calmer home, and the tiny miracle she and Caleb were about to welcome. The delivery had been rough, but Caleb never left her side, whispering strength into her ear. When the nurse finally laid that squirming bundle on her chest, Lena burst into laughter and tears at the same time. "It's a girl," the doctor announced. "A girl," Caleb echoed, voice cracking. "Our girl." They named her Alana, after Lena's late mother. She grew up in sunshine, curious, lively, her mother's green eyes set above her father's gentle smile. Aunt Helen spoiled her with treats, and Grandpa Damon taught her silly rhymes that made her giggle until she snorted. When Alana was 3, Lena became pregnant again. This time a thoughtful little boy arrived, Seth, quiet from the start. Alana adored him instantly, rocking him with the seriousness of a tiny nurse and humming tuneless but heartfelt lullabies. Life settled into warmth. Lena returned to her engineering job, and now she and Caleb shared an office at the design firm. Every morning they left together, every evening they returned together. Weekends meant family dinners or relaxed walks in the park. One afternoon, when Alana was 5 and Seth just starting to toddle, they crossed paths with Mark in the park, Lena's past in human form. He stood with a toddler of his own and a pregnant wife holding his hand. When he spotted Lena, he approached with a stiff wave. "Hi." "Hello, Mark," Lena said calmly. These your kids? He asked. Ours, Caleb corrected lightly, slipping an arm around Lena. Aren't they beautiful? She says they look like me. Lena smiled. And you? She asked politely. Your son. Yes, and a girl on the way. This is Tara, my wife. Tara gave a shy hello. Mark swallowed. Lena. I've thought a lot about the past. If I could redo. No need, she said. We all follow our own path. Yours brought you here. Mine brought me to Caleb. It's how it had to be. Mark sighed. My mother wrote to me. Marjorie wants to meet her grandchildren. I'm not ready. That's your choice, Lena said. But remember, children aren't responsible for grown-ups' mistakes. Maybe let them meet her someday. Just, think it over. He nodded and walked away. Alana tugged on Lena's hand. Mom, who was that man? An old acquaintance, sweetheart. Was he sad? A little. We're not sad, right? No, my love, Caleb said, scooping her up. We're the opposite. 10 peaceful years passed. Alana thrived in school, math came to her like song. Seth, more contemplative, filled their walls with watercolor landscapes. And little Nala, their unexpected third child, wobbled through the house on toddler legs, falling on her bottom and laughing every single time. One quiet night after the children had gone to bed, Lena and Caleb sat in the kitchen sipping tea. 10 years, Caleb murmured. Since everything happened. What story? My first wedding, he teased. All that chaos. Ah. That. Leave the past where it is, she said. I'm not digging it up. I'm just thinking, if I hadn't crawled under that bed, none of this would have happened. You. The kids. Our whole life. You're getting philosophical. Well, I'm grateful for the pain. It carved the path. Before Lena could reply, the doorbell rang. It was Janine, holding a cake and a bottle of wine. Am I interrupting? You? Never. They poured wine. To what? Caleb asked. To justice. Janine declared. Guess who was representing that crook who tried to scam my client? Marjorie. Yes, your ex-mother-in-law. Reinvented herself as a lawyer, but she got destroyed in court. Lena grew thoughtful. She rebuilt her life. Studied. Started over. That takes courage. Janine rolled her eyes. After what she did to you. She already paid her price, Lena said softly. Losing her son, her reputation, her money. She didn't give up, though. You have to respect that. Lena, you're a saint. I'm just happy. Happy people don't cling to old poison. Later, after Janine left and Caleb checked on the kids, Lena stepped onto the balcony. The city glittered below. She thought of everything, how she had transformed from a naive young bride to a confident woman with a family she adored. Caleb draped a blanket over her shoulders. Make a wish, he said, pointing at a shooting star. Do people who already have everything still make wishes? She whispered. What was that? Nothing. If I tell you, it won't come true. Her secret wish was simple, that her children would never know betrayal. That their first loves would last. That life would be kind. But she knew everyone had their own path. Let's sleep, Caleb said. Fine, but I'm never hiding under a bed again. They laughed, their private joke no one else understood. The next morning, tiny feet pattered into their room. Nala climbed into the bed, then Alana and Seth. Today's the zoo. Alana announced. Caleb groaned dramatically. The kids pounced and tickled him until he surrendered. At breakfast, Alana asked, "Mom, how did you and Dad meet?" "In a cafe," Lena said. "And he asked to sit at your table," Caleb added. "How boring," Alana sighed. "But real," Seth said wisely. "Real is better than fairy tales." At the zoo, the kids darted around, Nala babbling nonsense words at every animal. Lena and Caleb walked behind, fingers intertwined. "You happy?" he asked. "Deeply." "And me?" "I'm with you. That's all I need." That night, when the children slept, Lena opened her laptop. A headline caught her eye. Attorney Marjorie Linton wins major real estate fraud case. There she was in the photo, older, steadier, someone entirely new. "Your ex-mother-in-law?" Caleb asked. "Yes. And now she defends people being scammed. Life has a sense of humor." Lena closed the laptop. The past belonged to itself. The next morning, Lena's phone rang. "Princess," her father Damon said, sounding oddly shy. "I have news. Irene from the design office and we're seeing each other." Lena nearly dropped the phone. Her father hadn't loved anyone since her mother died 15 years earlier. "Dad, that's wonderful. Do you mind if I bring her to lunch Sunday? So she can meet the kids?" "Of course." Irene was warm, witty, and instantly beloved by the children. She brought Alana an engineering set, Seth professional watercolors, and Nala a bear bigger than she was. Later that night, Caleb nudged Lena. "Your dad looks happy. He deserves it." A month later, Lena accepted Irene's offer to join Damon's firm. The work was demanding, but it challenged her in the best way. Over time, Irene became not only a colleague but a friend, and then, quietly, Lena's stepmother. Damon proposed, and they married in a small, tender ceremony. Alana recited a poem, Seth gifted a painted portrait, and little Nala carried the rings on a velvet cushion. Life had unfolded strangely, beautifully, one tiny moment rewriting an entire destiny. And Lena, watching her family, knew she wouldn't change a single thing. Life slipped forward quietly, the way real life does. The kids grew taller, wiser, louder. Lena and Galani handled work, handled bills, handled disagreements about who left the freezer open, and every time they drifted apart, they drifted back together with the ease of people who chose each other daily. In that simple, steady rhythm lived a happiness worth protecting. One afternoon, while clearing the top shelf of her wardrobe, Lena found the box she hadn't touched in years. Inside lay that wedding dress, the one she'd worn on the night everything went wrong and then wonderfully right. She lifted it carefully, smoothing the old creases. Tara wandered in. "Whoa, this is gorgeous." "Yours?" "It was," Lena said with a soft smile. "Can I wear it someday?" "I hope you get your own," Lena said. "Every dress deserves its own story." "This one looks sad." "No," Lena whispered. "My happiness began in this dress, just not in the way you'd expect." "Tell me." "When you're older." She tucked the dress away again, not as a memory of pain, but as a reminder that sometimes you crawl through darkness only to stumble into the light. Sometimes destiny hides under a bed. That night over dinner, Galani announced, "I booked a beach trip. All of us. Next month." The children exploded with cheers. "Yes," Lena laughed, "but your father insists we choose a hotel with beds that have nothing strange under them." "What does that mean?" Tara asked. "Grown-up business," Lena replied. "You're all weird," Seth declared. "That's the truth," Galani added, kissing Lena's forehead. Serafina banged her spoon like a tiny dictator. "Eat." Everyone burst into laughter, an ordinary moment in an ordinary home, and yet it held the entire world. If someone asked Lena whether she'd change her past, she would have said no. Every bruise had led her here, to her husband, her children, her peace. Across the city, Marjorie, once her greatest enemy, reviewed files for a young woman nearly robbed by her spouse. It was almost poetic. She now defended women from schemes she once encouraged. She would never earn Lena's forgiveness, but she was creating some balance in the world, case by case. And Damon moved through life quietly, raising his children, trying hard to be a better man. Lena's strength had forced him to grow up. His kids never knew the version of him who lied and manipulated. And they never would. The circle had closed long ago. The old mahogany bed Lena and Galani left behind was the only piece of furniture that remembered everything. The new owner sometimes heard an odd creak beneath it. They shrugged it off. Springs, probably. They didn't know the truth. They didn't know that under that wooden frame, someone once uncovered a secret that changed multiple destinies. They would create their own stories. And Lena, she never hid again. Years passed. On Tara's 12th birthday, the house overflowed with noise and love. She ran up to Lena shouting, "Look what Dad gave me." Inside the box was an advanced engineering kit. "You're old enough for this now," Lena said proudly. "Mom," Tara whispered, "tell me how you really met Dad." "Not the boring cafe version." "The cafe version is true," Lena laughed. "But boring. The best stories start boring, then life makes them magical." Tara sprinted away to show the kit to her grandfather Mark, who was animatedly debating design methods with his new wife, Irene. Lena watched the scene, the chatter, the birthday cake Aunt Helen had brought, Kai working on a watercolor portrait of his sister, little Serafina chasing Leo the rescue pup, her very own soft universe. Galani caught her eye from across the yard and blew her a kiss. She returned the smile. Her beginning with him had been simple, yes, a cafe table, 2 notebooks, and matching headaches from a shared design problem, but the real beginning, the one that shaped her into who she was, had happened under a bed on a night she was meant to become someone else's wife. She didn't resent it anymore. She blessed it. As the sun lowered, painting the sky gold, she smoothed her everyday dress, not white, not symbolic, just comfortable and true, and walked toward the family calling her name. Later, she would think, thank you. Not to anyone specific, maybe fate, maybe chance. Thank you for the heartbreak that made her brave. Thank you for the betrayal that taught her loyalty. Thank you for the moment that saved her life in the strangest way. 2 more years passed. Lena was 40 when the next twist arrived. She had just wrapped a demanding project when the front desk called to say a woman was on the line, urgent, about Damon. She froze. Put her through. Lena. It's Janine, Damon's wife. I'm sorry to call you but, he's in the hospital. A serious accident. He needs surgery and he's A negative. The kids and I aren't matches. I know this is awkward but, you wouldn't happen to be. I am, Lena said. Her fingertips went cold. Which hospital? Northside. I'm coming. At the hospital she found Janine pale, trembling, with their 2 children clinging to her sides. While her blood was drawn, Lena felt how surreal it was. The man who once tried to ruin her future now depended on her for his life. And still, she didn't hesitate, not because of him, but because of his kids. The surgery succeeded. When Lena tried to leave, Janine grabbed her hand desperately. Please stay. I have no family here. Marjorie is abroad and unreachable. I'm scared. Lena stayed. Hours later, the doctor announced Damon was awake and stable. His children burst into relieved sobs. Janine whispered, "Will you see him?" Just for a moment. Inside the dim room, Damon looked fragile, almost unfamiliar. "Thank you," he whispered. "Janine told me what you did. I don't deserve it." "You don't," Lena said honestly. "But your kids do. Please, forgive me." I don't carry grudges anymore, she replied softly. Live better. Take care of them. I will. And, are you happy? Yes. Completely. I'm glad, he whispered. By the time she reached the parking lot, the sky had turned indigo. Galani leaned against their car, waiting. She told him everything on the phone earlier, but he still pulled her into a tight hug. You did the right thing, he murmured. I couldn't do anything else, she said. There were kids involved. Come on. Ours are waiting. At home, Tara, now 14 and dramatic, stood with arms crossed. Mom, did you save someone's life? Dad told us. Not exactly, Lena smiled. The doctors did. You helped. That makes you a hero. No, Lena said, cupping her daughter's cheek. It makes me someone who understands that the past is over, and the future belongs to the children. I just did what anyone should do, Lena said quietly. Nala folded her arms. But who was that man? An old acquaintance. Nala's eyes widened. The sad man from the park. Lena blinked. Her daughter's memory never failed. Yes. The very same. And why'd you help him if he was sad? Because sometimes, Lena said, brushing a strand of hair from her daughter's cheek, we help people even when they once hurt us. That's compassion. She didn't expect the story to continue, but 1 week later, it did. The visit. Lena was reviewing building plans when her assistant whispered that someone was here to see her. A woman stepped in, frielier than Lena remembered, silver hair pinned back, posture still noble. Marjorie. May I have a moment? She asked. Of course, Lena replied softly. Please, sit. Marjorie did, clasping her trembling hands. I came to thank you, for helping Damon. You don't owe me thanks. I do, Marjorie insisted. I've had a long time to stare at my mistakes. I defended the wrong people, believed lies, lost my son over it. But you didn't let my failure destroy him. She rose, then paused at the door. I help women now, those tricked out of homes, money, dignity. Free of charge. Not to earn your forgiveness. Just my own. Marjorie, Lena said gently, I forgave you long ago. Not for you, for me. Carrying anger is heavier than people think. Damon is recovering. Go see him. Tears filled the older woman's eyes. She nodded and left. Later, Tisha, now Damon's wife, told Lena the reunion had begun. Awkward, emotional, but real. Marjorie met her grandchildren, helped babysit, and instead of trying to control everything, simply listened. The ice that had lasted years started to thaw. The children grow. Life returned to its measured rhythm. Nala started at a STEM-focused academy, already dreaming of building tech that would change the planet. Kai, now a lanky 12, was showcasing paintings downtown, his talent startling even his teachers. And Serafina, now 8, carried Lena's fire from childhood, quick, fierce, honest to a fault. Until the day she came home sobbing. What's wrong, sweetheart? Lena asked. A girl at school said I was adopted, Serafina cried. She said I don't look like anyone. Lena gathered her into her arms. You look like my grandmother. Same deep eyes, same hair. The rest take after your father's side. You are my girl, my daughter in every way. After they flipped through old photo albums, Serafina asked suddenly, Mom, why don't you have wedding photos? Lena hesitated. She had destroyed the pictures from her first marriage. And with Galani, they had married quietly, privately, without a ceremony or cameras. You know what? Lena said. Let's make our own memories. A big photo shoot. Fancy clothes, suits, the works. Serafina squealed. Dad too? In a suit. We'll persuade him. What began as a photo shoot became bigger. Aunt Helen insisted they hold a symbolic wedding. 15 years together deserves a celebration, she declared. Galani agreed. Nala organized everything with military precision. Kai designed artistic invitations. Tara helped pick the venue. Everyone took a role. The letter. A week before the event, Lena received an envelope with no sender. Inside was a photo, from her first wedding, her and Damon smiling, unaware of the disaster that was hours away. A small note read. You should keep this. Not as a scar, but as proof of how far you've walked. With respect. Lena gazed at the girl she once was, hopeful, blind, trusting. She placed the photo in the album, neither displayed nor hidden, simply accepted. The ceremony. September sunlight washed Piedmont Park in warm gold. Lena wore a sleek ivory dress, simple, elegant, nothing like the heavy gown from her past. Galani looked effortless in a pale suit. Her father, Caleb, officiated. Friends, he began, voice wavering. 15 years ago my daughter made the wisest choice of her life, she chose this man. And Galani, well, he made a spectacular miscalculation. He chose her. Laughter rippled. But truly, love is not fireworks. It's choosing each other every day. Nala snapped photos like a professional. Kai sketched the ceremony in watercolor strokes. Serafina ran through the crowd, announcing that her mother was the most breathtaking bride ever born. Janine gave a heartfelt speech. Nala read an original poem. Aunt Helen sang a bolero that made half the guests cry. When the sun dipped low, Galani took the microphone. I'm no speaker, he said, but Lena, you walked into my life right when I became the man ready to meet you. Every day with you feels like the best day I'll ever have. Whatever comes next, we face it together. Lena cried openly. Thank you, she said. Thank you for loving every part of me, even the ones life bruised. Then came the surprise. The children climbed onto the little stage. Nala sat at a keyboard, Kai lifted a guitar, and Serafina, serious as a conductor, stepped to the microphone. We wrote this for you, she said. Their song, simple, sweet, true, wrapped the entire park in warmth. We did good, Galani whispered. Better than good, Lena answered. 6 months later, Caleb collapsed. A heart condition. The surgery was long, exhausting, but successful. Lena spent her days at the hospital. Irene stayed constantly. The grandchildren visited daily, Nala reading science articles, Kai drawing portraits, Serafina making him laugh with impossible stories. You know, Lena, Caleb whispered one day, I thought happiness ended when your mother passed. I was wrong. There was more waiting for me. There always is. Don't talk like that, Lena said softly. Why not? Nala's already 17. Suitors will come knocking soon. Dad. What? Life goes on. And it did. Nala entered Georgia Tech, brilliant and focused. Eventually she brought home her first real boyfriend, Quentin, nervous as a deer under headlights. Galani grilled him with questions, he survived. Kai was accepted into an elite art workshop in Florence under a master painter. Serafina enrolled in a prestigious music academy, already capturing attention. Everything seemed peaceful. Until one autumn evening, during family dinner, the doorbell rang. Lena opened the door. A young woman, no more than 25, stood there, tired eyes, a face unmistakably familiar. Are you Lena? She asked. Yes. My name is Kiana. When Lena opened the door, she found a young woman on the porch, trembling but determined. I'm Caleb Ramos's daughter. From his first marriage. Lena froze. Caleb had never mentioned a first marriage. Come in, she managed. In the living room, the young woman began her story. Caleb had married at 20, divorced a year later, never knowing his wife had been pregnant. She'd moved away, remarried, and her daughter, Kiana, grew up thinking her stepfather was her biological father. Only after he passed away did her mother reveal the truth. I searched. I found Caleb. We met. He was shocked, but he accepted me. He introduced me to Alana and the kids. They were so kind. And then, he told me about you. Kiana's voice softened. He said you changed him. That without you, he wouldn't have become the man he was. I wanted to thank you. Galani, standing nearby, stayed guarded, but Lena smiled. There's nothing to thank me for. Tea. Over steaming cups, the conversation flowed easily. Kiana was a pediatrician, bright, curious, with a spark that lit up the room. Tara adored her immediately, peppering her with questions about medicine. Do you mind if I visit sometimes? Kiana asked shyly. Come whenever you like, Lena said. And she did. Soon, she was part of the rhythm of their home. She bonded with Janine over books, helped Seth with anatomy references for his drawings, and gave Tara impromptu singing lessons. She had sung in a university choir. One afternoon, she arrived with a cheerful young man. This is Sergio, she said. A friend. Sergio, a surgeon at the same hospital, charmed everyone with his humor and warm energy. Seth connected with him instantly. Sergio also sketched in his free time. I've heard so much about your family, Sergio said when he left. Thank you for welcoming her. It means more than you know. Spring brought huge news. Seth won an international art competition. The prize, a residency in Paris. Mom, Dad, this is my dream. Of course they let him go, though Lena's heart ached when he hugged her at the airport. Without Seth, the house felt emptier. Tara's laughter and Janine's weekend visits softened the silence, but something was missing. Lena caught herself cooking his favorite meals out of habit. Even Galani, usually stone-faced, seemed adrift. She threw herself into her work and soon was appointed director of a major engineering project, designing a new life support system for a space station. It was complex, exciting, consuming. Late one night, she heard quiet sobs from the neighboring lab. It was Carla, a junior technician. My fiancé, he cheated. He took another woman to our apartment. I have nowhere to go. Lena handed her a tissue. Crying won't fix anything. I have a spare room, Seth's room. You'll stay with us until you figure things out. Carla stared at her as if she'd saved her life. Lena. No arguments. Get your things. Galani only chuckled. Saving another stray. What did you want me to do? Leave her outside? Tara was thrilled, finally someone to talk to about girl things. Carla turned out to be wonderful. She baked, helped around the house, and tutored Tara in English. One evening she asked, Lena, how did you meet Galani? Lena told her the story of the cafe, the scattered blueprints, the fear of trusting again. And your first husband? That's a saga, Lena said. One day. She didn't need to. A week later, Carla's ex-fiancé showed up at the engineering firm with flowers, begging forgiveness in front of everyone. Carla froze. Lena stepped forward. Young man, this is ridiculous. Please, I love her. I was stupid. You were, and you still are. Carla, do you want to speak to him? She shook her head. Then leave. Now. Or I call security. He left, only to start waiting outside the building every day. Galani handled it privately, and the ex disappeared for good. A month later, Carla met Miguel, a quiet programmer with glasses and a gentle soul. He looked at her like she was made of starlight. Lena approved instantly. A year later, Carla arrived at Lena's door in tears. If you hadn't helped me, I never would have met him. You're my fairy godmother. I'm no fairy, Lena laughed. Just lucky to be there at the right moment. Seth returned from Paris smelling of paint and turpentine, more confident, more himself. There's no place like home, he said, hugging her. Janine graduated with honors and accepted a position at a research center. Mark, her longtime friend, proposed at the celebration. She said yes, but they decided to postpone the wedding until life settled. Tara blossomed at 14, tall, radiant, suddenly noticed by every boy in school, though she cared only for music. Mom, I was invited to a competition in Vienna. Pass physics first. Mum. Travel is a privilege, not an escape. They went to Vienna together. Tara sang in a historic hall where legends had performed. Her voice was clear and powerful, the audience held its breath. The ovation lasted minutes. She won first prize and an offer from the Vienna Conservatory. Mom, please, this is my chance. You're still too young to live alone abroad. When you're 18, we'll talk. Tara sulked, but her first crush back home helped her recover. Life moved on. Alana and Mark grew older. After Caleb's illness, he became philosophical, speaking endlessly about the meaning of family. Nothing matters more, he told Lena. Not work, not money. Just the people we love. Nala, meanwhile, began to fade, forgetful, confused. Age, the doctor said. They moved her in, gave her a sunny room. Tara sang to her, Seth drew her portraits, Janine read to her. One afternoon, Nala took Lena's hand. Thank you, for loving my son. For giving him a family. A week later, she passed peacefully in her sleep. The funeral was quiet. Galani stayed strong, but Lena saw the fracture in him. As they walked home from the cemetery, he whispered, Mom always said life continues, even when it feels like it stops. She was right. She lives on in our children. Janine's wedding was beautiful, emotional enough that Galani cried as he walked her down the aisle. Even Caleb attended with Alana and the kids. Kiana came with her own family. Caleb approached Lena. Your daughter is stunning. Just like you were. And thank you, he added. Kiana told me how you welcomed her. That means more than you know. The past is past, Lena said gently. We live in the present. Aunt Helen arrived as well, older now, but dignified. Lena, congratulations. You've raised an extraordinary woman. She handed Lena an envelope. A gift for the newlyweds. A small part of what I owe you. Lena protested, but Aunt Helen insisted. Seth received a commission to paint murals for a church, an honor for any artist. Tara prepared for conservatory exams, choosing the one in Atlanta to stay close to home. And then, at 45, Lena discovered she was pregnant. Galani almost fainted. But, how? Oh please, Lena laughed. Do you want this baby? Yes. Do you? Yes. Their kids reacted wildly. Janine was ecstatic. Seth was already planning a portrait. Tara turned red. Mom, that's embarrassing. Well, too late. At least make it a girl. I don't get boys. The pregnancy was rough. Lena had to leave work and rest. But she didn't regret a moment. Galani treated her like royalty, the kids supported her every step. A baby girl was born, tiny but loud enough to shake the walls. They named her Marjorie, after Lena's closest friend. "She's got character," the nurse said. Janine arrived with her own round belly, continuity. Lena joked. When Marjorie turned 1, they held a huge family party. Friends, relatives, even Carla and Miguel came with their newborn. The house overflowed with laughter, music, children, and the warm hum of a life full to the brim. Life, as Nala once said, continued. Kiana and Sergio announced their engagement on a bright Saturday, the kind of morning that made the whole house feel alive. Serafina took her guitar and sang a soft, playful song for her baby sister, while Kai revealed a painting titled, Sana with Wings, a dreamy portrait of the toddler floating among clouds. During dinner, Caleb lifted his glass. "To longevity," he said with a voice that trembled but didn't break. "May our family line stay strong long after we're gone. And may our great-grandchildren gather someday just like this, laughing, arguing, loving, remembering us with warmth." Lena looked around the table, at her children, at Galani's quiet smile, at Tara spoon-feeding little Sana, and thought, this is it. This is real happiness. Not money, not titles. This. And strangely, all of it had begun with that silly moment years ago when she had ducked under a bed to avoid a man she thought she'd never see again. When the house finally settled that night, the guests gone, the older kids asleep, Sana breathing softly in her crib, Lena and Galani sat outside on the patio. The air smelled of jasmine and damp earth. "Tired?" he asked. "Happy," she answered. He took her hand. "Sometimes I think about that day you hid. If you hadn't." "Don't," she said with a small laugh. "Everything played out exactly as it needed to." "Maybe," he conceded, "but look how it turned out." They leaned into each other, listening to distant traffic and a dog barking somewhere down the block. The world spun on, but their little corner was wrapped in perfect peace. 3 years slipped by like pages in a book. Sana grew into a bold 4-year-old who reminded everyone of Serafina at that age, restless, curious, impossible to intimidate. Serafina herself completed the conservatory and earned a coveted spot in the Metropolitan Opera chorus. "Mom, this is only the beginning," she said, shining. "I know," Lena answered. "The world isn't ready for you yet." Nia and Mark welcomed their first child, a boy they named Caleb, after the great-grandfather. Old Caleb puffed up with pride. "He looks exactly like me," he bragged. "Every baby looks like you," Marjorie teased, patting his back. Meanwhile, Kai surprised everyone by falling in love, not with a painter or musician, but with Amara, a nuclear physicist who spoke of quarks and galaxies with the same passion he had for art. "She sees formulas like landscapes," he told Lena. "And somehow she says my paintings are visual equations. Mom, she gets me." "Then she's a keeper," Lena said warmly. One Tuesday afternoon, Lena received a call from the hospital. "Mrs. Lena," a nurse said, "Ms. Zola Ramos is asking for you." "She may not have long." Lena sat in silence for a moment. Part of her wanted to say no. But she remembered the sorrow in Zola's face the last time they met, and went. Zola lay in a palliative care room, her skin thin and pale. Still, she managed a faint smile. "You came," she whispered. "I wasn't sure you would." Lena sat beside her. "What did the doctor say?" 2 weeks. Maybe 3. Zola nodded toward a folder on the table. "I need you to take this. There's a letter inside, but read it later." She hesitated before adding, "Don't call Omari. He's finally steady. I don't want him to see me like this." "He's your son," Lena said quietly. "He deserves the truth." Zola closed her eyes. "I've already hurt him enough." But Lena made the call anyway, without mentioning Zola's request. Omari arrived an hour later, older, grayer, and suddenly small in the doorway when he saw his mother. "Mom," he whispered. "My son," she replied, tears spilling. Lena slipped out to the hallway where Tisha and the kids waited, worried and grateful. Not long after, Kiana and Sergio rushed in. "She was asking about us last week," Kiana whispered. "I hope she holds on." Zola passed away 7 days later. She spent her final hours speaking to each grandchild, apologizing to Tisha, blessing Kiana and Sergio, and thanking Omari simply for being her son. The funeral drew dozens of people, women she had defended, colleagues, even judges. She had lived a complicated life, but the last years had become acts of quiet redemption. After the burial, Omari hugged Lena. "You gave me the chance to forgive her," he said. "I can never repay that." That night, Lena opened Zola's letter. The handwriting was uneven, shaky. "Dear Lena. I call you dear not because I deserve to, but because you changed me. You taught me dignity without cruelty, strength without violence, love without blindness. I spent years trying to undo the shadows I cast on you, not for your forgiveness, which I never deserved, but for my own soul. Thank you for letting Omari say goodbye. Thank you for showing me what a true woman is. If your children ever ask about your first marriage, tell them honestly. Let them see how a person can walk out of darkness into light. With respect. Zola Ramos." Lena folded the letter and put it away. One day she might show the children. Not yet. Right now, the house was in chaos. Sana had caught chickenpox. "Mom, I'm itchy," the child whined. "I know, love. Don't scratch. But I'm itchy." Lena covered her in ointment while telling stories and humming lullabies. Galani came home early. "Dad, look." Sana announced proudly. "I'm green, but beautiful." "You're a glowing princess," he said. "A very green one." Every Sunday, the family met for dinner, a tradition Nala had started years ago. During one of those gatherings, Serafina stood up. "I have news," she said. "I'm getting my first solo concert at the conservatory." The whole table erupted in applause. Preparations began instantly. Serafina rehearsed non-stop. Kai designed a poster. Nia handled logistics. Lena sewed the concert dress, deep blue with silver thread, star-like. A week before the event, a gallery from France called. They wanted to buy a series of Kai's landscape paintings. "Mom, the payment is huge," he said. "You earned every bit," she replied. "I want to donate part of it, to the orphanage Zola chose." Lena stared at him, moved. "Are you sure?" "Yes. It feels right." The concert hall overflowed on the big night. Carla and Miguel came with their children. Kiana and Sergio sat near the aisle. Even Omari and his family attended quietly in the back. Serafina stepped on stage in her mother's handmade dress, shimmering like night sky. Her voice soared through classical arias, filling the hall. Then she paused. "My last piece is one I wrote myself," she announced. "It's about family, not just blood, but the people who choose you, stand with you, forgive you, believe in you." The room held its breath. The song was simple, aching with sincerity. It spoke of home as a sanctuary, of a mother's hands that heal, of a father's laughter that steadies the world, of brothers and sisters who shape your heart. Lena cried openly. Galani squeezed her fingers. Even Sana, wide-eyed, didn't make a sound. When Serafina finished, the audience rose with thunderous applause. She beckoned her parents on stage, and the children pushed them forward until they stood there, flushed and humbled, while the crowd continued to cheer. Later, at the reception, a well-known producer approached her. "Ready for the big stage?" he asked. "I can send you on a national tour." Serafina smiled. Thank you. But I'm not rushing. I want to grow here first. The big stage isn't going anywhere. Caleb walked slowly toward her, leaning on his cane. My dear, he murmured, eyes wet, you sing like my mother. During the war, she sang for the wounded. She believed a voice could mend a soul. Tell me about her, Grandpa, Serafina said. And he did, right there amid the flowers, violin cases, and lingering applause, as the family listened, wrapped in the warmth of a legacy that kept growing and growing. That night, after the guests had left, the house settled into a calm warmth. Teacups clinked as the family lingered around the table, talking quietly about the concert. Then Nia looked up with a serious expression. Mom, she said, tell us about your first marriage. The whole truth. We're adults now. Lena exchanged a glance with Galani. He nodded, silently encouraging her. And so, Lena began. She told them about the prank she had planned, hiding under the bed. About overhearing her mother-in-law's conversation, Omari's betrayal, the revenge she had taken, and the eventual forgiveness that had healed years of pain. The children listened, rapt, mouths slightly open. So, Omari was your first husband? Kai asked, wide-eyed. Yes, Lena said simply. And you forgave him, after all that? Yes. Holding grudges isn't worth the heartache. Mom, you're amazing, Serafina said softly. You'd have done the same, Lena replied. You are strong, all of you. Just like your father knew from the beginning. When did you know? Nia asked. From the first day, Galani said. Your mother's honesty, her strength. Not every woman could endure what she did without turning bitter, yet still keep her capacity to love. Little Sana, dozing on the sofa, lifted her head. Then why did Mom hide under the bed? The room erupted in laughter. She wanted to play a trick on your uncle, Lena explained. Such a silly trick, Sana said seriously. Dark and dusty. I wouldn't do it. And you're right, Lena said with a grin. Never hide from anything, or anyone. Another year passed. Lena turned 50. Half a century. Mom. We have to celebrate. Serafina exclaimed. I don't want a big party, Lena said. Then we'll all go somewhere together, Galani suggested. To the beach, just us. The family loved the idea. They rented a spacious house on the Gulf Coast. Even Caleb and Tara came, despite the doctor's advice. I haven't seen the sea in 10 years, Caleb said, smiling. The 2 weeks passed like a dream. Days filled with swimming, sunbathing, and beach volleyball. Nights were for bonfires, Kai's guitar, and shared stories. Sana built sandcastles with Grandpa Caleb, while little Camo toddled across the sand, giggling each time he fell. On the last night, they gathered for a grand dinner. Galani raised his glass. To my beloved Lena, he said, voice steady. 50 is not an age, it's experience. You grow more beautiful and wiser every day. Thank you for 25 years together, for our children, for being you. Caleb added, as a father, I must say. Lena has exceeded all expectations. She's not just my daughter, she's my friend, my strength. Your mother would be proud. Glasses clinked, toasts shared. Then Nia stood, a radiant smile on her face. I have news too. We're expecting our second child. Applause, hugs, and happy tears followed. Now that's a birthday gift, Lena laughed. Serafina couldn't be outdone. I have news too. I've been invited to La Scala for a scholarship. Gasps and cheers filled the room. La Scala, the dream of every opera singer. And I, Kai said, have been commissioned to paint a chapel in New Orleans. It's an honor, but a lot of work. Probably a couple of years. You decided to give us all the news on the same day, Galani joked. Why not? Lena said with a smile. It's a special day. That night, Lena walked along the shore. The moon traced a silver path across the water. She reflected on the years, the joys, the trials, the unpredictable turns of life. Galani wrapped his arms around her from behind. Can't sleep. Thinking about how fast time goes, she admitted. Nia, soon with a second child, it feels like yesterday she was starting elementary school. Do you regret it? Regret what? Crossing paths with me, all my baggage. Lena laughed softly. Your past is part of who you are. I fell in love with it, your strength, your honesty, your truth. I thank fate every day for that. They stayed embraced, listening to the distant cries of seagulls. You know, Lena said, my mother was right. She always said difficulties make you stronger. Every challenge is a lesson, and life rewards those who learn. Yes, Galani said. Too bad she didn't see this. Our children, our grandchildren. She sees it, Lena whispered. From wherever she is, she's watching, happy for us. The family returned home, tanned and full of plans. Serafina prepared for Italy. Kai for New Orleans. Nia decorated the nursery. Life hummed along. Then tragedy struck. Caleb suffered a stroke. Lena never left his side. Doctors fought tirelessly. When he opened his eyes, the first thing he saw was her. Lena, he whispered. I'm proud of you. Live, be happy. He passed peacefully, leaving the family to mourn on a rainy October day. Friends, colleagues, and those he had mentored came to honor him. Lena remained strong in public, but at home, she allowed herself tears. Galani and the children surrounded her. Little Sana stroked her hair. Don't cry, Mommy. Grandpa's an angel now. Irene, who had no children of her own, was left alone. Lena approached her gently. You're not a stranger. Your father loved you. Stay with us. Irene accepted, and a new grandmother entered the house. Life resumed its rhythm. Serafina sent letters from Italy, Kai painted the chapel, Nia's daughter Sana brought light into the home. Then a letter arrived from the notary. Caleb had left a will. His assets were divided among Lena and the grandchildren, with a special fund in his wife's name to support young women engineers. Even in death, Lena whispered, tears falling, he's still caring for his family, honoring the woman he loved. On New Year's Eve, Serafina returned from Italy, radiant and full of stories. Mom, it's incredible there, she said. But you know, there's no place like home. That evening, the family gathered, toasting Caleb's memory, little Sana, and the future. As midnight struck, Lena made a silent wish, health, happiness, and love for everyone she held dear. Looking around at Galani, the children, grandchildren, and Irene, already part of the family, she understood one thing. Despite loss, despite pain, she was truly, completely happy.